We started getting low on food. I think it's like 38 right now. So let's start and try to catch some fish, right? Okay. Oh, nice, we got one. Perfect, nice. Success. One fish, but I want a couple of more. Let's try and throw a spear. Oh, maybe a grenade, nice. Nice. Boom. Maybe another one. Okay, let's try to get them. Nice. Raw fish here. Raw fish there. There. Perfect. Okay, so we got 4 of them. So with this campfire right here. Get some wood in it. Our fish. Turn it on. And get some fish. Nice. Nearly done. One left. Alright, so now we have some fish which we can eat. Perfect. Nice. Now my question would be, do you want a fishing system like this in your Unreal Engine project? You can. I want to show you how. When you get this system on the marketplace, you will get this specific example map, and we have a pad here for a fishing rod and a wooden spear, just as an example. And I made a couple of different waters just to make an example of the different difficulties. And in this video I want to show you a couple of things. First of all, I just want to show you how it works. Not only visibly but also technically, so how the data tables are set up, things like that. How to add this to your own system, and I think that's sufficient for now. Let me first show you this one. So if I press the left mouse button, I can throw away my line and the fish will catch on. And now I need to make sure that this bar keeps on the fish, and then the bar just keeps greener and greener. And if you lose it, then it will go back again. And if you go to a more higher difficulty setting like this one, then the behavior also will be different of the bar. Oh, this one is way quicker. And as you saw the first second, when you lose it, it doesn't lose the fish directly. That's an intentional behavior. I think we set a delay to 0.5 seconds. But if you don't catch on within that time frame, then it will mean that you just lose it. Okay, let me see the most difficult one for now. Oh. Okay, this one is... Yeah, perfect, nice. And these fish also listen to damage. So if I throw a grenade or throw a spear or whatever, then it will just replace the mesh to an actual pickupable fish. So now to show you how this works. This water, I mean the fishing spot, that is a specific blueprint. And this blueprint does not contain the water, the physics volume, and the navigation bounce volume and enough mesh modifier, because we need all those things. However, we are not able to dynamically spawn that, because I think on the background of Unreal Engine these are BSP brushes, so we are not able to spawn them in as actors. More about it later. First, let's just look at the fishing spots itself. So this one I place right here. This one has a spawn area and a bobber area, and already has enough mesh modifier in it. But that's just a component. That's the only deviation that I could do. And if we scroll down right here, then you see the configuration. What's the fishing water? And this one is set to ocean. And I just made a couple of presets. And the fun thing is, we can also change the amount of fish and also the spawn chance and the spawn interval. So if you set this one to 25 and 50, something like that, then there will be a lot of fish. Yep, so now you see there are way more fish in it than before. Nice. And you can play around with these settings, the spawn interval, the spawn chance, things like that. How are these fishing waters set up? Well, a fishing water just holds different fish. Because say, okay, specifically in an ocean, we have these types of fish. And in a lake, we have these types of fish. So how are the settings like difficulty and the items set up? Well, that is based on a data table of fishes. And in the data table of fishes, here we can define, okay, What's the catching difficulty? What's the catching behavior? The movement behavior? What kind of mesh do we use? What's the name of the fish? Do we get XP? So you just saw 0 XP. That's because this one is set to 0. And the fishing water, we have all kinds of variables already set up. For instance, if you want to use a link like a weather system, say, hey, you can only catch this fish when it is rainy. I think Stardew Valley uses logic like that. Then we could say, okay, you require this type of weather. What type of day? Let's say only during night fishing, for instance. Or maybe even a required season. And we have presets of different qualities. I'm currently not doing anything with these presets. I'm just calculating them and sending it over. And if you want to implement something like this, you can just use these values and based on that, try to spawn a different type of inventory item in your inventory. In this example, I just spawn one fish in your inventory. All of them are the same. But if you have a lot of meshes and things like that and want to define qualities, then you actually can. So that's about it. I think it's really simple. But now on to how to set this up in your own project. I think I want to note a couple of things. First of all, we use components. But we have quite some example components on this fishing character. Let's say we have an inventory component assigned here. Why? Because I want to have equipment, and with that equipment, I want to use to start fishing. And when I catch the fish, then I want to have that item in my inventory. You might think, okay, this is way too much for me. I want to have my own inventory system. You can. Obviously, that's not for beginners. It's more for intermediate or advanced users. However, if you're going to press delete on this one, you will get a couple of errors. Let me show you an example. So if I do type in inventory here in our fishing component, and we say, hey, get the inventory component and add the item to our inventory. However, if you have your own inventory system, that means that you will get errors on locations like this if you remove ours. And then you need to just get your inventory component and do an add item or whatever function you have in your inventory. You just make sure it works. And that's the reason why we include components like that. It's not because they are necessary as a whole. However, I just use this as an example for you to see, okay, this is how I could use it in my own system. But if you want to use our systems, then that's also fine. And just a bit more easy to do. And the other thing is we have the action component Fishing Advanced, and we set that one to on our character, which is quite nice. And that one handles all the logic. The equipment manager, that's the same, that handles the equipment for the rod, things like that. If you have your own system, then you just need to define your own equipment system. What else? For the UI, for the inventory, things like that, I'm using this HUD auto create class. If you use your own HUD, then you can use that one. If you want to use ours, then you could or select the specific widgets that we need for, let's say, the inventory one, or just use this class. And on the player controller, we have this information prompt manager, and that is simply displaying that messages of fish caught, things like that, and that is auto queuing if you have multiple messages. Then a couple of plugins. For the UI, I'm using Common UI plugin. So enable that one if you want to use our UI. Besides that, I am using a lot of project settings. For instance, for the interaction, for picking up the fish, things like that. I have set up some collision settings and some interaction traces, which is very logical. So if you want to migrate this to your own project, then you need to check in the configuration file, see, okay, which settings are set and try to match it. And if you have conflicting ones with other systems, then you need to choose, okay, which one do I want to use? But that's why it's more easy to just use also our other systems, because you can just migrate it over all the other systems and it will basically just work. So how to add a fishing spot to your own project? Well, there are a couple of things to know. Here in the end, I have made this example. And we do want to use a couple of things. Currently, I group this one. If I ungroup it, let me see that Shift G. What I do is I have the fishing spot base. This one is holding the settings like this, and that has a specific bounds. Then I have fishing water. That's just fishable. So if you have your own water, then just use your own water. We do need a nav mesh bound volume that is set to water, the physics volume, and that's set to a water volume. And we do require a nav mesh bound volume to navigate the fish in. And the fishing spot base itself, that one has a nav modifier volume with a fail-safe extent. And if you see problems with that, then or you could use your own nav modifier in the world and just make sure the extents match perfectly, or try to adjust these values. And that's just the way how your engine works currently. So my advice would be, if you want to have a fishing spot, just go to this map, copy paste this one, go to the other map, paste it, and then adjust the settings how you need it. And that's basically it. Nice. I really hope you enjoyed this. And feel free to ask questions if you have them. I'm happy to answer them, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. Congrats, you have reached the end of this video. And of course, always feel free to reach out, for instance, in the comments below, via Discord or mail. And don't forget to check out our website and Discord. I'm happy to talk to you there. Have a nice day. Bye.